Welcome to another session of our Strengthen and Mobilize class. I am Britta, and today we're going to focus on a few compound body movements. So, stuff that is not only going to help you develop strength using body weight or potentially some banded resistance training, but also positions that will encourage you to mobilize your main joints and all of the fascial structures within your body. Hopefully, if you're feeling stiff or tired or maybe sore from other workouts, this won't be too hard in terms of load or intensity, but it'll feel really, really good. And that's the goal, is that you walk away from this session feeling really good and maybe better than you did when you started. We're going to start with a quick warm up. I'll have you come to a standing position, and you can find a place in your practice space where you can walk backwards and forwards, so the length of your yoga mat or any kind of direction that you choose. We're going to take a couple deep breaths, so go ahead and just relax your hands, stand with your feet hip width, take a breath in through your nose, open your mouth, say ha. We'll do that 3 times. Okay, I'd like you to step about 2 or 3 feet forward like you're going to be in a lunge position. Your back foot, I want you to make sure that it's turned down or forward so your heel is facing back instead of down to the ground. Take another deep breath in. Exhale it. Now this time as you lower, you're going to breathe in. You're going to lower your back knee to the ground, breathing in. Exhale up. We're just going to repeat that for 5 times. Inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, exhale up. As you're doing that, you can reach your opposite hand across the front shin. So you're getting a little bit of rotation and a little bit of stack. Let's do one more. We'll switch sides. And you can stand up, bring your feet together, and we'll switch. Step the opposite foot back. Get your nice stance. Both hips are facing forward. Let's inhale, we go down. Exhale, power up. So as you'll notice, I'm not trying to overbend my front knee. It's not that that's bad, but I want you to work on pushing your hips back and lowering everything kind of in line. Shoulders behind your front knee, in line with your hips. Inhale down, exhale up, last 2. Get that wrap. Final 1. And let's stand up. Cool. Hopefully you're getting warm already. We're going to shake it out. We're going to come into a similar position. Let's go back with the left foot forward. You're going to step your right foot way back. Bring your right hand to the ground. And if you need to adjust, if you need to widen the distance between your hands and feet, totally great. Go ahead and make that adjustment. This is called the world's greatest stretch. It's a nice way to get some length through the front of your leg and the back of your front leg. And a little twist. So top arm is going to come down. Bring your elbow towards your inner wrist. And you can inhale here or exhale, whatever feels good. Reverse the breath. Reach the top arm up and try to reach back behind you. So inhale to twist down. I like to exhale to twist up. The back leg is staying lifted. Not so high that we're in like a hamstring stretch, but staying parallel with your hips, shoulders, knees. 2 more. Just wrapping and flossing your shoulders. From here, place both hands on the ground. Step back to a plank. Take another deep breath in. Push the ground away. Pull your tailbone towards your heels. And then we'll switch the leg that was in front. Step the right knee forward now. Stack your body weight over your bones. Inhale, elbow down, twist. Exhale, push and reach. So you might see this, you might be able to feel this better. As you're pushing and reaching up, I don't want you to sink down into your bottom hand. I really want you to push the ground away and keep that length or space as you twist. So the bottom shoulder blade is continuing to squeeze towards the body. Let's do 2 more. Hands come back to the ground, step to that plank position, and then lower to your hands and to your knees. Go ahead and give your wrists a little shake. I like to shake them out and in just a few times, kind of get some energy through the arms. Now we're going to really work on warming up the shoulders, the fingers and wrists a bit more, and really finding a connection between our breath and the contraction of the abdominals from a position that's quite stable. So you'll come into tabletop, hands right under your shoulders, knees right under your hips. I like you to tuck your toes so your heels are stacked right on top of your toe joints. Take a breath here. Inhale and let yourself kind of sink or hang on your shoulder joints. And then when you exhale, push the ground away. Feel your lower abdomen contract. Find that little length through your tailbone and hover your knees. So we'll try it again from the top. Inhale. Exhale like you're buoyant, floating, reaching off of the ground. Okay, from here we're going to sit the hips back. Keep the knees elevated. Inhale. Exhale when you come forward. Find that same bear position. This is designed to be slow so that you can start to feel the connection between your breath and that lowest part of your abdomen, the area beneath your belly button, drawing in and up, creating a lot of stability in your trunk. Let's do one more. We're going to hold that position here and then lift one hand to your opposite shoulder and switch. Hand to opposite shoulder, tap, tap, tap. I want you to do your best not to swivel your body and create lots of movement, but get tight. Be really nimble, stable, and tight. Let's go 2, 1, and then knees down, untuck the toes, sit back, make wrist circles. Back of the hands come together, reach them down and up, and then the front of the hands come together. 3 times. I know I'm already getting warm, which is a good sign that we're ready to move forward. I want you to come to that bear position again with the toes tucked. Exhale, lift yourself up, and then shift back. This time, walk your hands until your heels touch the ground. This is a low squat position. Stay here for just a moment. Try to lift your thighs off of your chest or vice versa. So you're not hanging down, you're pushing up. I want you to gaze forward and push the legs to straight, zipping up the line of energy from your chest to your pelvis. We're going to do that up and down a few times. Inhale, take the hips back, bend the knees, bring your hands down by your toes. Exhale, walk forward to your plank or your bear. Feel the abs. Inhale, try to keep your hips low. Push back, heels to the ground first. Chest off of your thighs, look up, stand up. So we breathe in as we go down. We breathe out to contract and find that support through the trunk. Inhale to shift back. Look up, exhale, stand up. Let's do 2 more. All of this is preparing your joints, your muscles, your breathing diaphragms, and your brain, most importantly, to get ready to do some of these movements a little quicker and a little bit more intense. So let's shake it out. I like to shake my toes, my ankles. I like to take some bounces, and we can swing the arms out and wide. Just a few of these to reset. Now our final warm-up, we're going to be back on the ground, practicing a position that you'll come into later for a Turkish get-up. This is called a shin box position. So I have one foot and knee that's bent in front of my body. The other knee is bent behind my body. So you can see it kind of makes a 90-degree angle. We're going to practice this with hands first. You can either do hands on the ground or hands behind. But just start to shift the position by lifting your knees and then turning towards now your back knee, which is your new front knee. Same thing, turn open, lift just the knees, turn positions. We'll do that one more time on each side. The goal is that we're lubricating these hip joints and kind of getting your brain ready to move with that control through the torso. So lots of control in the abdomen, keeping your body upright. If this feels really challenging, again, the arms can be there to help take some of the weight out so that you have a little bit more space to feel. Okay, from that position, once you're back where we started, I'd like you to use your hands to lean forward and lift up. So you're pushing your front foot and both knees down into the ground, shifting your hips forward. See if you can do this without your hands on the way back down. Reach forward for counterbalance, lower, slow. Hips touch the ground, stack your shoulders over your torso, switch sides. Okay, you might use hands, you might not. Sit up, extend the hips, and then reach the hips back, sit down. We'll do it one more time. Turn, lift, lock, sit back, turn, lift, lock. All right, it should feel really nice throughout the hips, the knees, the shoulders. We're ready to go. Our class today is 2 different circuits. So I'm going to be taking you through 4 exercises. We're going to do a certain number of repetitions. We're going to move on from exercise to exercise until we've completed all 4. We'll do that 2 times, and then we'll move to an entirely new circuit, different exercises, same format. My invitation for you is to not treat this as a high intensity training session. The goal is not to crazy increase your heart rate. The goal is not to do so many repetitions that you feel sore or that you've got a big pump. The goal is to go slow enough that you have control, stability, and also to be able to do the repetitions with great form so that you can walk away, like I said, feeling great and maybe more energized than you started out. All right, so that first circuit, we're going to stay on the ground and practice that movement with a little bit more complexity. So I'd like you to come to your back. You might want to be at an angle so you have lots of space to the side, not a wall right behind you or anything overhead. We're going to place the feet on the ground. I want you to raise your right hand up to the ceiling. Imagine that you're holding on to like a heavy weight, maybe a dumbbell. And I want you to push that dumbbell up towards the ceiling. So you're reaching out. You're going to extend your left leg. Right arm up, left leg out. Take your left elbow way out to the side. And I want you to kind of roll into that elbow and push into your right leg. Like you're going to roll and lift that weight up. Just try that a few times. So this motion really comes from core control. I'm not trying to sit up. I'm trying to lean into those 2 opposite points and then sit up, okay? So we'll do the whole thing together. Elbow is pushing down, right foot is pushing down. I want you to reach that imaginary dumbbell up and then push your whole hand into the ground. Come up to your elbow. See if you can now lean forward and come up to your hand. Bring your hand back underneath your shoulder. Now lift your hips. So push into your knees, your feet, and your arm and lift your hips up. And then we'll reverse that. We'll come back down, take the elbow down to the ground, roll back onto your back, and relax that top arm. So this is the beginning of a Turkish getup. We're going to try it 2 more times on this side, all right? Right arm up, left elbow down, right foot down. Take a breath. As you exhale, roll, sit up, get your hand under your arm, and then lift the hips. Come on back down, slowly with control. Maybe you're just using that bottom hand as a guide. Maybe there's very little body weight in there. Try the last one by yourself. I like to keep my eyes up on this hand, imagining that that weight is my guidepost. I don't want that weight or that arm to move around in space. Okay, let's switch. We'll go from the other side. Left arm up, left foot on the ground, right elbow way out, and right leg way out. And inhale, exhale. Pivot over to the side, push down, and then get your hand underneath you. Lift the hips up, arms stay straight until you come back down to your elbow. Roll back. 2 or 3 more. Use your breath. Exhale to come up. Feel the abs staying engaged. All of your major muscles and joints are really a part of this movement, and it's a great way to just train yourself getting up and down from the floor in a different way. Finish your last round. Let's come back to the ground. You can take one knee, push it away from you to sit all the way back up. We're going to evolve that on the second round, but that was a good start for now. We're going to go straight into some single leg work. So I'd like you to place your feet just as wide as your hip bones, or maybe like 2 fists between your knees. That's generally a good starting point. Round yourself down onto the floor. And I want you to place your feet not super close to your hips, but maybe a hand's distance, maybe a little bit more. I want your arms to be up, reaching for the sky. What this does is helps us connect the musculature in the front body. Take a deep breath here. I want you to feel the energy in your right heel. I want you to ground that right heel a lot down into the earth. We're going to lift up both hips. Then I want you to lift up your left foot. Bring your knee straight towards the ceiling. So it's not back, it's not forward, just reaching up. We're going to inhale to drop the hips, exhale to lift them up. 5, 4, 3. Each time I'm squeezing the muscles in my hips on both sides, trying to not let that left hip sink. And I'm reaching up with the arms so this is engaged through the abdomen. Last one, lower slow. Switch the leg that was up. We're going to go up with both. Find your position, left heel grounded. Lift that right knee straight up towards the ceiling. Inhale to sink the hip. Exhale, push. Inhale. I want you to imagine you're reaching that top knee towards the ceiling, right over your hips. Last 3. Last 2. Final 1. Big squeeze at the top and lower slow. Take hold of that other knee. Reach your leg long. Push yourself back to an upright position. Okay, we're 2 for 2. We've got 2 more to go. We're going to find either a downward dog position, or if you have any sensitivity in your arm, if being in an overhead position is challenging, you can do this against a table or a wall. So I'll show a couple of variations. We're going to be working a push-up, but a vertical push-up. So normally plank, we're here and we're bending in a horizontal manner. Now we're going to take that overhead and train a little bit more or different musculature in the shoulders. Tabletop position is a great starting point. I want your hands just slightly wider than your shoulders. Tuck your toes, find that bear crawl, and then shift your hips back as you straighten your arms. Lift the hips, straighten the legs, find a downward dog. It doesn't mean that you have to have your legs straight or your heels flat. You can be totally bent and relaxed. You're just looking for length through the side body. Gaze with your eyes towards your thumbs, so your head will just slightly lift. When you bend your elbows, I want you to take them out wide. And you can go as far as you can down, but push as you straighten the hands back. You don't want to get stuck when you come forward over your shoulders, okay? So this line is important. Your head should always stay behind your wrists. As you're pushing, it's more of a vertical position. If you're modifying this for whatever reason, I like to do it this way, you can come up against a table. So now you're in a box position, right? I'm hinged at my waist. There's a straight line from my wrist to my hip. My hands are shoulder distance apart. Head is neutral. Eyes at the fingers. You're going to bend wide, bring your head towards the edge, and push out. Same thing if this was a wall. The only difference is your hands would be flexed. So I want you to go ahead and pick a variation that works for you and give me 6 to 8 really good, slow, controlled repetitions. I'm going to go ahead and go on the ground again. Here we go. 6, 5. Each time, reach out. Imagine you're really trying to push the yoga mat or the ground or the block underneath you away. Each repetition. Last 1 or 2. Inhale as you bend. Exhale as you reach. Good. Come back to your knees. Give your hands a break. Okay, our final part of this circuit is for the inner thighs. You're going to come down onto your elbow and your forearm, setting those up right underneath your shoulder. And I want you to be in a side laying position. So your bottom hip should be in line with your front elbow. Now, normally in a side plank, whether we had knees bent or extended, we would lift up and we would be pushing on the lower leg. For this variation, I'd like you to place your top leg on the ground. And we're going to be hovering that bottom leg. So I like to do this with one hand in front. Go ahead and take a breath in. When you exhale, feel your tailbone lengthen towards your heels. Pull the muscles from your sternum to your pubic bone tight. And then push away from the ground and lift that bottom leg up. We're going to hold for 10. Pushing out of the bottom shoulder too, so we're not dumping weight. 5 seconds left. If you want to reach the hand up, that's great. Or hold here, or hold here. 3, 2, 1, and lower. It's already a lot. 15 seconds. It's going to be our max today. You should feel that energy from your knee primarily. You can always do this with a bent knee as well. Let's try it on the other side. Elbow underneath shoulder. Hip right in line. Go ahead and find kind of like your starting side plank position. Your outside foot, you can either have your foot flexed, so you're balancing on the inner arch, or you can flatten the foot. It's going to create a little different sensation. Let's go up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Try to squeeze the thighs. 4, 3, push out. 2, 1, and relax. There you go. Circuit number 1. How do you feel? What did you feel like you needed to work on? Because all of those are probably slightly different variations than you may have done before. So we'll get a second round to go through and practice all of those again. Starting with your Turkish get-up. Now this time you can do the same exact variation, or you can come all the way up to standing. So let's start with the right leg down, the right arm up, left side or the leg and arm that you're going to roll to. Take a breath. Visualize that dumbbell. Push it up. Roll to your side first. Get the hand underneath. Lift the hip. Now you might stay here, or you can bring that back knee right behind you. And then you can come up to a kneeling position. Reverse. If you're still holding, hold. Bring the leg back forward. Lift the hips. And then slowly sink. Unroll. Eyes up. And back to start. Let's go for 2 more. Just like that. Exhale as you come up. Inhale at the top. Exhale to control. Lower back down. Roll. Keep balancing that imaginary weight. Go through the last one. Maybe you come all the way up. Practice that transition. Back knee and toe to the ground. Sit up tall. Come back down. Trying to create nice steady lines from your hands to your shoulders. Come all the way down. Drag your knees into your chest. Give a little roll. You can come on up and switch sides. We'll go for 3 Turkish get-ups on the second set. Left arm up, left foot planted on the ground. Big breath here at the bottom. Exhale, push and roll. Sit up. Inhale to lift. You can stay there or practice. Bring your knee back. Stack everything over your shoulders and chest. Sit up tall. Inhale when you come back down. Exhale as you transition. Control your abdomen. Inhale to roll back to the floor. Reset. 2 more. There are so many variations to this exercise. I like to practice this before I get into a lot of other big movements because it involves so many good core muscles, major joints, lots of mobility built into this exercise. We're finishing up this last rep, Turkish get up, nice and slow. Maybe you take your bottom hand out, roll down, relax, bring your knees to your chest. We'll stay on the ground here for our single leg glute bridge. Feet hip distance apart. Get your shoulders tucked in behind you. Arms reach up like you're going to reach for an invisible bar. Take a breath. Exhale, lift both hips. Push weight into your right heel, lift your left knee. We're going to go for 6. Down with the hips, up. 5, 4. Notice we're not overarching the upper back. A lot of times we get up here and we're just lifting the ribs. I want your ribs down. That's why we're reaching. This is coming from true hip extension. Last one. If you're not done, go ahead and rest and switch. Shake out the hands. Both feet down as you lift. Find the reach at the top. Power into your left heel. Right knee towards the ceiling. Inhale down. Exhale up. Try to keep everything even and controlled. For 3, 2, 1. Come back down. Bring your knees into your chest. Rock and roll a couple times and come all the way back upright. We're going to find that downward dog position or wall push-up for your vertical press. Now I want to challenge you. 6 to 8 is not a lot of repetitions. Can you, as an option, never get to the point where you're locking out your arms? So that means I'm never quite getting to full extension and I'm never quite resting or sinking at the bottom position. That's going to increase the time that those muscles are under tension. It's going to make it feel harder. So let's try this. Go with me 6 to 8 downward dog or vertical push-ups. Remember, you don't have to straighten your legs or flatten your heels. You can keep a soft bend. We want length through the upper body. Gaze up at your thumbs. Inhale to bend. Exhale almost to straight and then rebend. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Maybe you've got one more. Rest. Solid, solid, solid. Last one. Here we go. Our Copenhagen plank. Are you ready? These are super hard for a lot of us, myself included. So we're going to do both knees together, shoulders under wrists. You can straighten the leg. Remember, the top leg is the one we're pushing down on. In 3, 2, 1. Push the ground away. Lift that bottom knee. Squeeze thighs together. You're already 2 seconds in. Hold for 5, 3, 2, 1, and down. Switch sides. 10 seconds, not a lot of time. Over the course of time, if you keep doing this practice, you can increase that. Here we go. Lifting up. Anchor the back leg. Lift the bottom knee for 10. Open the side body so you're not facing down. You're wrapping the hips in a neutral line. 3, 2, 1. Those are burners. All right. Shake it out if you want to get up to a stand or if you need any water. You need to take a layer off. We're going to keep working here for our second circuit. The second circuit, you can have a resistance band. If you're going to use a resistance band, I recommend it be a really long one that makes a loop. Or if you have one that has handles, that you sit on the handles. You want it to be a very light resistance so that the handles can move freely up and down. We're going to be in a pike position, meaning your legs make a 90-degree line from your torso. Your knees can be bent, they could be straight. If you want to add a super challenge, take the knees or legs and flare them into a V. We're going to work an overhead press. So I want you to imagine that you have heavy weights, or again, if you have your resistance band, you're sitting on it so it's underneath your legs and the handles are resting over your palms. We're going to be pressing up and slowly lowering down. This is great even without a band. You get to be the curator of your resistance. So I want you to imagine someone is pushing down or you have heavy weights. It shouldn't feel fast or easy. We're going to count the whole time. Okay, your elbows start right in front of the body. So you're here. Take a big breath in. Exhale. Get tight in your abdomen. And then inhale again. Exhale, push for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Imagine you're holding a really heavy box, or maybe there's a person on your hands. The goal here is that we're getting this range of motion. The elbow comes in front of the body and it comes up. We're not going out. We're going straight up and down. Last 2 for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Solid push. 4, 3, 2, 1. Imagine you're resisting those weights coming down. You're trying to slow them down. 2, 1, and rest. Cool. That's called a Z press, or a version of a Z press. All right, now we're going to go for a little overhead position to get our triceps. Again, if you have a resistance band, you would want to set it up as an anchor point behind you so that when you hold the band, there's already a little bit of resistance from this position. You don't have to have a band or weights to do this, but it can help. Put your feet on the ground. Like we did before, we're going to lift the hips up. I want you to notice if your ribs are flaring towards the ceiling, can you squeeze them down like you're zipping from your pelvic bone to your sternum. We're going to go for 10 of these. Exhale, pull your arms over your head, and then inhale, reverse really slow. You could do that 5 count, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reach all the way back. So the idea is that we're really working to engage the lat muscles, the outer back, those big action muscles that move our arms towards our body. And we're working a little bit of that resistance on the way back. Again, remembering to pretend, if you're not using a band, that there is resistance there. You're squeezing those muscles actively. Let's do final 2. Keep the hips up, keep the ribs down. Last 1. Lower it all the way back and then bring the hips down to the ground. Just relax, move your hips from side to side a little bit, bouncing, wiggling, resetting. Hand to your front shin, opposite leg straight. Let's rock up to a seated position. Now we get to finish this circuit with a plank position. Hands right underneath your shoulders. Spread your fingers wide. I want your shoulders to communicate with the entire part of your palm. So you have a lot of feeling, a lot of stability, a lot of control. When you're here, legs go straight, and I want you to bring them tight together so your big toes and your heels are touching. Bring your hips down, lift your chest forward, and for 30 seconds, we're going to alternate legs lifting. Keep breathing. Keep pushing the ground away with your arms. We're not trying to arch the back to do this. Trying to keep the hips level and squeeze your butt. I don't know where we are, but it feels like we have 10 seconds left. 5, 3, 2, 1. Come back to the floor. Shake the wrists. Catch your breath. Like I said, these are not extremely strenuous positions, but as we build up time and consistency in this type of practice, you'll see your body will get stronger. Your joints will perceive more intelligently where you are in space, and you'll be able to hold these maybe potentially with added resistance over time. So that's circuit 2. We're going to go through that whole thing one more time, and we'll get a little chance to just stretch and work on a little bit more focused mobility work. So come back to the Z press. I encourage you, if this is a hard position, if it feels challenging to keep your legs straight without your knees bending, or if you feel like you have to round your torso, place your feet flat on the ground. Lift your chest up. This can be a little bit more forgiving of a position. Okay, imaginary dumbbells or imaginary or real resistance band. We're going to go for 10. Push and pull. Maybe you have a set of rings somewhere around you, or you can have bands that you attach overhead, and you can actually really work the pulling action. And then the resistance of the push is more visual, about halfway. So we're trying to trace this line from the elbow to the shoulder, where the hand now comes right over the shoulder. So we're not going too far back or keeping it too far forward. Just imagine you are a stair stepper. Last 1 or 2. Come on. Pull them down and push them up. Inhale, come back down, relax, shake out the legs, lean back, shake out the chest. It's okay to have a little fun in your exercise moments. Not everything has to be serious. Not everything has to be super intense. So I want you to be playing and experimenting with playing. Come back onto your back for that banded pullover. Your hips are, feet are hip width apart. We're going to lift the hips up, hug the ribs down, squeeze the abs. Start with your arms overhead. Imagine you've got a really heavy bucket of water that you're trying to pull up and splash over yourself. Let's go for 8 more. I want you to start to feel as if your lats are engaging. So the arms are straight. The pull comes from your shoulders pulling down. 6 more. Hips stay high. Don't get lazy and sink down. Once those hips lifted, the abs and ribs on. 4, 3, slow it down on the way back like there's someone pulling your arms from the front. Last 2. The final 1. Inhale it back. Lower the legs. You can take the knees from side to side. Just get a little stretch. Okay, hug one knee to chest, opposite leg long. Push the knee away. Stand up, or sit up rather. Okay, plank, leg lifts. Here we go. Shoulder distance. We got 30 seconds on the clock. Starting now. 2, 1, lift. It's not necessarily about fast, but I do want you to not hold there for too long. So get up, squeeze, and switch. Get up, squeeze, and switch. Come on. Keep the shoulders right in the center of your palms. So we're not going back in a down dog, making this super easy. We want the abs on. 10 seconds. 5, 4, as it gets hard, say, I can do it, I can finish. I know I'm right there with you. Last one, and relax. Shake it off. Shake it off. Now, you got a bonus set here. This one is a delicious way to train the quadriceps, the glutes, the hamstrings, basically to make your legs strong, mobile, and powerful. So we're going to pop up to the hands and then to the feet. Find a standing position. In the beginning of our series today, we practiced that reverse lunge with a twist. So what we are going to do now is a isometric contraction, meaning we're going to hang out there for 30 seconds. It's going to feel hard, but I promise you it's only 30 seconds and then you're done. So feet hip width. Go ahead and step your right foot back. Not so far that you're in like a yoga lunge, about 2 feet. I want both of your hip bones to face forward. I want you to get really tall in your upper body, and then I want you to reach your arms forward. So we get a little contraction, curling the tailbone down, lifting the front of the pelvis up. Do you feel that? Exhale here and try to push your arms out without rounding. Should feel it here. You should feel a stretch. We're going to inhale, bend the back knee, hover it an inch from the ground, and then exhale. 30 seconds starts now. Keep breathing in and out through the nose. Keep finding stability between the front foot, the back foot, not wading into either one, but staying stable. Stay low. If you can, shift your hips slightly back and pull your chest slightly back. We're weighting the front leg and powering into that back knee. You're more than halfway. We've got 10 seconds. Abs are firing. I'm already shaking. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and lean forward. Stand up. Shake that back leg out a lot and switch sides. Shake it out. Wiggle, 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 bounce. Not too bad. Second round, you might feel it a little bit more. Right leg's going to be in front. Step the back leg back. Tall stance. Arms forward like you're pushing a wall. A really big one. I want you to find that push. Contract the front abdomen. Feel the stretch in the back leg. Here we go. Inhale down. Back knee bends. You hover it 1 inch from the ground. Pull the shoulders slightly back. Stay. Your brain might be getting loud, telling you things. It's burning. It's hard. I don't like this. Why am I doing this? You can listen to that. It's not going to make it easier. You're halfway through. Shift your mindset by telling yourself better things. I'd like to stay here. I'd like to see if I can make it 5 more seconds. I'm reaching out through my fingers. I'm reaching for the floor. Final 5. I'm breathing. I'm getting stronger every moment. 2, 1. Take a breath in. Exhale, celebrate. Woohoo! You're done. It's easy. It's not a lot of work, but it does compound over time. So I'm proud of you for getting through it. Like I said, this isn't meant to be like a super bodybuilding class, just meant to give you a lot of awareness about what's happening in your body, how to control it in better places and ways. So I'd like to spend the last several minutes coming down to the ground, doing a little bit more active mobility work. We're going to target the hips again, the ankles, and actually a little bit of our upper back. So you can come to a squat position with your feet slightly wider than your hips. When you come down, let the knees go out to the side so you're not collapsing into the middle. They're kind of making a nice line with your ankles. If you can sit here, that's great. If you have a block, a couple of books, a low bench, you can sit on that. We're just going to hang out here for a few minutes. Take your elbows and just plant them on the inside of your knees. Try to actively reach the thighs away from your belly button. So again, you're not kind of sinking and rounding, but rather you're lifting up and sending the tailbone backwards, sending the heart forward. If your elbows are supporting you, you can reach the hands in front and start to make circles with the wrist. Chance to just recalibrate your breath. Notice maybe things are sore or stiff here. Sometimes just length and duration can be helpful. Sometimes movement can be helpful. So we're going to do both. Another 5 seconds. To get a little bit of movement, I actually want you to shift your body weight over to one side. You can bring your hands, let's say we go to the right side, so that you can lift your heel up. You have your hands there to take a little bit of that weight off of your toes if that's painful or challenging. And then come back, shift your body to the center, and then repeat. Shift, and then lift. Shift, and then center. One more time on that side. Shift and lift. Release, back to center. Now second side, shift. Notice I don't have weight in my hands, but they're there if I needed to catch myself. If I don't have that control or stability in the joint, I'm there to give myself support, but I also don't have to take it. Okay, last one. Cool. Now from here, bring your hands forward. I'm going to turn to the side. Bring your hands forward a lot. Go ahead and lift your hips up and lift your heels up and turn them out. So now your toes should be facing in, your legs can be straight. You're in more of a wide-legged fold position. You can let the head come down. Your hands can find the ground. I want you to let your head totally relax. If this is a position where you know that you either hyperextend and your knees are completely locked out, or you really can't get your legs straight, I want you to bring your feet a little closer and soften the knee joint so it doesn't have to be locked. With the head relaxed, I want you to take your hands behind your low back, one at a time. We're going to make little circles with the head, just kind of looking at your chin, chest, left shoulder, left toes, bottom of the mat, right toes, right shoulder, chest. 3 circles in each direction. Pause, rotate the other way. This is a nice way to not only get a little stretch through the legs, create a little awareness through the feet, but mostly to get some movement in the spine, in the head, without gravity, or with gravity, but in the opposite direction. Okay. When your head comes back to neutral, you've done your 3 circles. I want you to actually take your hands, and instead of like holding them or pulling your wrists and then straightening the arms, I want you to try to bring your hands together behind your back and squeeze those muscles a lot. If you can't get them to touch, you can imagine that they're doing it. Squeeze them like there's magnets, and then start to lift your upper back. Still squeezing as you come back upright. So that whole idea is that we're actively engaging those muscles instead of just gripping and extending, which often just throws us into some extension that we may or may not have ownership of. So when you squeeze the arms together, you kind of have to stay a little bit more upright or rigid. Make sense? We're going to do that in reverse. So squeeze the arms behind your back. Imagine you have magnets that are pulling them there. And then I want you to shift your butt back. Lay your chest forward, come all the way down. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then relax the hands. You can shake your body from left to right. Anything that feels really good. Go ahead and bend your knees. Bring your hands to the front of your thighs and roll your spine back up. And we're going to try that a few times. This is a nice way to get some mobility through the rest of your spine that you may or may not have had before. So from that kind of kneeling position, hands to the thighs. You push your knees forward, you tuck your tailbone, and then you round your spine as you straighten the legs. Tuck, roll, round, and stand. Try it like 5 times. It doesn't have to be as big or as like prominent range of motion that maybe I'm doing. It could look like this. Just want you to try to feel how all of those major joints in the body interact. See if you can get a little bit more loose, a little bit more free, each one smoothed out. Okay, come all the way up to standing. Take your feet again wide or wider than your hips. We're going to bring the arms. You're going to be bending your elbows one at a time, and you're going to make a fist. So each time that your arm comes in front, it's going to tap your chest. And each time that your arm goes to the back, it's going to tap like around your kidney area. How we're doing this is not by moving the arms, but by swinging and moving the hips. So start this way first. I apologize for the dog barking in the background. This is real time. My dog is a protective, barking little man. So I hope you can get through that as we're going here. All right, now as you got the arm swings, start to bend the elbow joint and just let your hands tap where they land. This is also a fabulous way to give your body some vibration, which can help with any type of congestion, stagnation, inflammation you have throughout really any body part. Right now we're at the lungs and the back. You can go fast, you can go slow, but the goal is to not make it with effort, but to make it more easeful. So you can see I'm really just moving my hips and letting my arms swing. All right. Slow that movement down. Let the hands come back down. We're going to take 3 deep breaths to finalize our class. These should be grounding, easy breaths to mobilize some more space in the upper back. So I'm going to turn to the side. So mobility is not just about stretching or strengthening. It's really about breathing, letting there be space and movement available in the body. So bring a hand to your belly. Bring a hand to your middle of your chest, like your heart. Close your eyes. We're going to breathe in through the nose. I want you to first fill up your mid-belly. So feel your bottom hand expand. And then breathe that chest, move that breath up into your upper hand. And then on the way out, the upper hand sinks first, and then the bottom hand can contract. So you're using the diaphragm muscles inside to really create movement in the muscles, in the bones, in the fascia, in the organs. So let's try that for about 5 rounds. Fill up the belly, the middle ribs, the upper chest, even into the outer back. You can feel the breath. Exhale, the ribs compress, the diaphragm compresses. A few more like that, just on your own. Again, it doesn't have to be a forceful breath. It doesn't have to have any constriction or noise. Just filling to capacity and compressing and letting things empty. Take this final exhalation, really allow your hands to then just float down towards the ground, hanging at your side. Notice the sensation of how it feels to stand in your feet. Relax the muscles of your legs, relax your shoulders down. Just find a breath or two here with eyes closed where you feel strong and stable, easeful, and upright. And then open the eyes. Take your hands, give yourself a round of applause because you made it through a silly class and hopefully a fun session for you to feel a little stronger, a little bit more mobile at the end of the week. So thank you again for joining me. My name is Britta. If you like this class and if you'd like to see more, feel free to go to my website, which I will link here, or check out any of the other YouTube videos that I have. I would love your support, and mostly I would love for you to feel amazing in your body. So thanks. See you next time.